What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. More Escape from Tarkov action, and as you can see, what a way to start the video. And as you imagined, in this Let's Talk Tarkov, we are going to be covering everything from Tarkov TV. We're going to hit some of the high points. I'm going to hit a couple of things that I think are the most important takeaways and some of the other news that I'm really excited about. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's talk Tarkov. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got some screenshots. We played the video up front. I just want to say Lighthouse expansion, very excited for it. Thinking back on the development cycle really quick, I'm actually really happy. While Lighthouse wasn't perfect, it certainly had some frame rate and some performance issues. I'm really happy that they've released it in the way that they have. There's obviously a ton. The Lighthouse expansion looks like a lot of additional real estate. There's going to be bosses. There's going to be new areas to the water treatment plant. There's just going to be a lot of additional content coming for the Lighthouse map. And I'm really actually excited that we almost get I feel like it's going to feel like two maps with the way that they've gone about the expansion. Now, granted, it was a phased rollout like Streets is going to be. I think when we think about the future of the game and people's kind of yearn for additional content, rolling a map out like this and like Streets of Tarkov is going to be, having it in these stages is going to feel really awesome. So people are going to be really excited to jump back in, check out Lighthouse again. Even if you've been farming the rogues and have a really good idea and understanding, I think dynamics of that map are going to change pretty drastically when we get all of this new and interesting content. So very excited for it. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what your thoughts of Lighthouse is. I got a lot of, I'm going to say, like reserve vibes. A lot of the buildings, some of the features, but also a ton of just like new feel. I mean, we get some new building structure, we get some new building artwork and design, and you've got kind of this weird mix of like some kind of labs like elements in there too. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be really awesome, and I'm very much looking forward to it. They talked in the Tarkov TV podcast. If you did not see it, it was jam-packed. It was about an hour long, and it was absolutely jam-packed with a ton of new info. I just got to take a quick aside and say it's really nice to finally hear from BSG. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff going on in the world right now that impacted that. They said they've been able to continue working, so I'm really happy for them. And it shows. The progress shows they are ready for a ton of additional features and things. But I want to quickly stick on Lighthouse. So Lightkeeper, he's here. He's a traitor. He's a cultist lover. So if you can't really tell, I'm going to highlight a couple of things with my cursor here. Hopefully you can see. One, the necklace that he's holding. Interesting. Can I zoom in? Let's see if I can zoom in. We're gonna zoom in. This necklace he's holding is very interesting, very cultist. I'll flip through a couple more screenshots, and we saw some during the video. There is a huge cultist reference with the island, which is really interesting because essentially now you have multi-factions of multiple different factions on the same map. You have the rogues, basically controlling water treatment plant, and probably a boss, I would assume. I think that's a fair assumption that we're going to see there. And then now you have the traitor and probably a subsequent boss that's going to be protecting the traitor that is cultist affiliated, which is going to be very interesting. That's a pure guess, but I think there's a lot of symbols that throw to it. And you can just look again, look at the necklace. He's got some funky things going on. He's kind of been fucked up a little bit by, I don't know, but these are all these scars on his face. It's going to be very interesting. And then we zoom in. We get this shadowy figure here. You got the horns right up here. You've got the kind of crazy skull mask. Looks like some kind of maybe coat. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. They kept it very nondescript on purpose, but obviously included it to spark our interest. I'm very excited for this. I think this is going to be really interesting. This is going to be one of those maps that I think really changes a ton once we get this expansion. So looking forward to it. Lightkeeper is going to be really interesting. What they said is they have a ton of progress done, as you can see from the screens in the video, but there's still lots of features that they have to work out. Specifically, trader-related features is what Nikita mentioned in the podcast. I anticipate, he said this will be coming soon, but that's to be determined. So let's flip through a couple more screenshots here. You've got like a med office again. You got, again, this is kind of labs-esque, if you will, in my opinion, as we're looking at it, but really cool. Another kind of experiment type thing. I think this kind of lines up a little bit more of what we've seen from Lighthouse in a few areas, as well as probably some cultist reference there. We've got obviously our terror group boxes. This looks like kind of an underground portion, a little bit more better maintained than the reserve military base. A little library section here. Here's where I'm kind of getting some of the reserve vibes, the two-tone walls and things like that. You've got this interesting plants. We see these in I think this is the same area, these little cat designs on the wall. We're gonna see it here, yeah. Here, I think this is the same building, these two. This is interesting too, like a kind of like an herb or drug garden. I don't know, like obviously they're doing something with these, and it's all these built-up containers. It looks underground. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I'm excited for this. You got some really cool outdoor scenes. This is obviously the lighthouse. I imagine where it's pretty safe to say where the trader is going to be. We saw some good views of that in the video as we started here. Here's another area we saw in a different perspective in the trailer on this, but this was some more kind of reserve-esque vibes for me with the canopy up top, and you can get up onto the roof here, it looks like. Single-story building, which is pretty interesting. Here's a good shot of Lighthouse. This looks like a very big area, too. This is not going to be a small addition, I don't think, when it comes to this map. I think this is going to add a lot of real estate. It's going to be very interesting moving around here. And I get some vibes that there's going to be some things connecting some stuff underground just with what we've seen. There's another good shot of Lighthouse, which is really cool. Again, this looks like the inside of the lighthouse. Pretty neat. Probably same thing. Probably maybe the bottom floor going up. It's going to be really interesting to see how, again, the trader works. It's more information. I think this is going to be some other areas where we're going to be able to get some pretty solid stuff. But I think you're really going to have to work for this. You're really going to have to work for this. Obviously, we got a safe here. Maybe a locked door, another solid key. There's some corrugated hose in there. Could be good, could be good. Little kitchen area. Little weapon crate, pistol cases, weapon cases, ammo box right there. Propane up there on top. And a little bedroom area, pretty cool. Well, those are the screens I got. I'm very excited for this. I wanted to spend some time just kind of flipping through these, taking a look at them. These are all posted on their Twitter account too, so if you want to go and dive in and get full screen views at them, you certainly can. But I'm very, 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 very excited. They showcased a couple other things, and probably as I talk, I'll throw some videos up and some snippets as we go through a few of these things. But there is a ton of additional features. One of which is coming very, very soon, and I will roll the clip, is DLSS. So they showcased a video, again, hopefully it's running right now as I'm chatting, about DLSS coming out. They said as soon as this upcoming week, so if you're watching this a day or two, or the day it goes up, or day or two after, there's a good chance it's on its way within the next handful of days. They have a couple of different modes, performance, quality, and a few others that are designed to help improve your FPS performance. It looks really good. They actually had a really cool NVIDIA clip that they put together, kind of a hype video, if you will. I thought was really neatly edited and showcased some good stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be big. They've been talking about this for quite a while, and they've continued to have a significant push on performance for the game. A lot of what they talked about, or spent a little bit of time on the podcast talking about, was just continued performance improvements. Streets of Tarkov, they said, is still very much in full-fledged production. They're working on a lot of things. They've got, it sounds like, a pretty good build going for that. But one thing they've really been focused on is they want it to be able to perform, and they know the struggles that Lighthouse brought when it first came in. So I'm excited for DLSS. Hopefully you are as well. I think it's going to be some good stuff for the game, and I think it's going to help people that have the ability to run it. I think they're really going to enjoy that. In addition to that, we got just a handful of additional things coming to the game. I'm going to hit a couple of them that I think are going to be neat. I don't think going to be super game changing, but they have armor and weapon repair kits. They did also mention one more. I think we're going to see a variation of repair kits. Basically what this is, I'll probably throw the video up of at least one, which is you get this item, and instead of paying money to any of the respective traders, you use this item to be able to repair your respective armor or weapons depending on which one it is. I like this feature. They said they were going to be relatively rare, but I like this feature especially for like hardcore accounts. It's going to be really interesting, or just something else in the game where you don't have to spend your money. If you struggle with finding rubles or anything like that, this is going to be kind of a neat feature to take a little bit of that out of it. I also like the fact that they talked about skills specifically are going to tie to this. So like weapon maintenance they showed off is going to tie to that and have some implications to it. That seems pretty cool too. I like that idea. I think utilizing those skills to be able to do that makes a ton of sense, and I'm excited for that. In addition, they showcased a new Revolver Pistol. So they said there are going to be 4 different variations of the pistol and different calibers. The smallest is going to be a 1x1, so you're going to be able to throw it in your pockets and use it if you so choose. They said they're still working out the damage and the recoil. So the video that if I showcase it here, this is not like, you know, going to be current stats or how it's going to handle, but look pretty cool. They said that one thing Nikita specifically mentioned, which I thought was really interesting, is he doesn't know essentially how much use it's going to get, but because it's a revolver, weapon durability for it is going to be really good. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about when you think about some of the guns and how they burn durability. It may push some players this way or that way if there are significant changes with the durability for respective guns. So I like that. I think that's going to be pretty cool. One other thing that I did want to spend a few minutes talking about is Arena. They anticipate in the very, very short term having a like playable build of Arena done. They expect it to be out this year, which I think is awesome. Nikita sounded very, very, very positive about the feature. Seems really excited about it. When I think about kind of where we are with the wipe and a lot of the just community discussion, I'm going to call it, that's going on right now around Tarkov, I think this is going to be something that people need and that people should be excited for and also want. With that being said, I think it's going to give some additional features to the game. I think it's going to mix a couple of different things up, and I think it's going to be that break that some people need from just the grind of regular Tarkov. Again, I don't want to speculate too much. They've talked a little bit about what this feature is going to include, but it's basically, you know, purely going to be a PvP, you know, encounter, and you're going to be fighting with your team. And I think that type of game mode is something that people are going to need, especially once they get to this point in the wipe, right? Not saying that people aren't going to play that all the time, because I think it's going to be very popular. But I think especially for people that have kind of progressed through, maybe gotten their Kappa, done the quests that they want to get to, gotten to the level, gotten their traders unlocked, done all those kinds of cool things. I think they need a feature like that to be able to pull them out, go have some fun, you know, a night or 2 or 3 of gaming on that, or mixing it up back and forth, and then being able to jump into the regular Tarkov experience and enjoy that as well. So I'm excited for it. I'm really excited to hear that it is going to be coming out this year. And it sounds like, again, a build where we are going to maybe be able to test on ETS servers is coming very, very quickly. So super excited about that. They had more in the podcast to share, but some things weren't ready. They're very close to being able to share with us kind of the Lighthouse bosses and some of the, yeah, I don't want to say mechanics, but some of the details around those guys. And a few other things. They did talk about some other quality of life improvements. That's what I'm going to call them, but some big changes. One I'm going to show up right now and talk through is a video of weapon crafts and some changes to tools in weapon crafting. Just crafting in general, excuse me. Basically, tools now, like things like screwdrivers, crickets, I imagine like wrenches, and some of the other actual tools that we have in the game that are current barter items are going to get a new designation. When you go to craft with these items, instead of them being consumed, You're now going to use it during the time that the craft is, but once the craft is finished, whatever it ends up being, whether that be in your, your lavatory or your workbench or your nutrition unit, once that craft is complete and you receive those items, you're actually going to receive that tool back. So I think they use the screwdriver and the cricket lighter as an example, and they're basically reusable tools. I really like this. I think that's a neat and interesting feature. It definitely makes it feel a little bit more realistic. Nikita did very specifically say this feature is coming very quickly. So a lot of these things like DLSS, and I anticipate this feature coming very soon, is going to drastically change probably the market, as well as they are going to adjust the values on how rare those items are. So things like screwdrivers, crickets, some of the other tools are going to get a lot more rare, because now hypothetically you only need one. It will be interesting to see what they do with quests in the future. If there are any quests, I think there are a few that require you to turn in probably some of those tools. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that in the future. But I like this feature, and I think it is going to also help with some hideout management and the things that you have to hang on to, because going forward, you're only going to need one, hypothetically, of those items. Again, unless you have to turn it in for something, you're only going to need one of those things going forward. So I'm excited about that. I think that's good quality of life and kind of just a realism improvement, if you will. Another quality of life thing that they are bringing in is going to be some additional quests, daily quests, daily tasks, if you will. And it is now going to include eliminating scavs, probably players with multiple, one or the other, or multiple. They showed two in this specific example, different types of guns. So the example they gave was kill 10 scavs with shotguns or SMGs. Pretty simple implementation. I think that's going to make some of the quests, some of the daily tasks a little bit easier and a little bit more accessible, especially early on when maybe you don't have access to certain guns or things are hard to get. So I like that. In addition to that, they are bringing in a system that allows you to re-roll your dailies. What this will cost you, it will cost you rubles. It may or may not, they're going to tweak some values on this, but it may or may not cost you some additional rep from that specific trader. So they showed Purpore in the example. They re-rolled the quest. It was like 52,000 rubles, and it was minus 0.01 rep from that trader. They're still working out some of the kinks, because when they tested it, it didn't actually work on the podcast. However, I like that. I think a lot of people have been asking for that. If you get a quest for something to turn in or some place that you really don't want to go, the ability to re-roll it at least once seems like a pretty neat feature. And you take the gamble of, are you going to be able to get that rep back, and do you want to do that new quest? So I like that feature. Pretty cool. The last thing they showcased, and I'll showcase this here, and they talked about a lot more, but I want to keep this video relatively short. It's already longer than it needs to be, is a flare gun. This flare gun is going to have multiple different types of rounds. They talked about multiple different types of airdrops as well. They showcased the standard airdrop. Basically, you fire this and it brings in your airdrop. No really designation on time. It seems like it takes a little while. What's cool is a couple of things. One, the flight path of the plane changes. It curves. It does some evasive maneuvers, if you will. So it's going to be a little bit harder if you're just seeing the plane to key in on this airdrop. The flip side of that, though, is the plane now basically shoots off its own set of reactive flares and is very, very easy to spot. So you're going to know generally in the area that it drops its package. Basically the smoke marks from those flares that it fires is going to stay there for a while. So call this in, and best of luck to you and actually securing your package before you get swarmed by player scavs and any remaining PMCs on the map. They did say that there will basically be a limit to how many you can bring in a single map. Nikita made the joke that you and all your friends can bring in a bunch of flares and try to fire them all at once, and it's not going to work. So we'll have to do some testing. It'll be interesting also to see how rare this is, as well as if normal airdrops without flares are also going to still come in. I would expect they do, just at a lower frequency. However, it will really be dependent on how easily accessible the flare gun is and its respective rounds. Be really cool to see, but I also think we're going to see some different features as well with the flare gun. They talked about that. They talked about some different types of things. I think it's going to be more than just packages. My like really wild out there thought though, but when it comes to streets, is we're gonna have these roaming like BTRs and things like that. I'm gonna be interested to see if you can mark a flare and have like a gunship come in. That's just pure hypothetical speculation on my part. But as soon as he said that, that's instantly where my mind went. And they had talked again about having the ability to basically take out those rolling convoys. And I think that's going to be an interesting aspect to it. So there's a lot there. There was a ton more they talked about. They talked that hopefully this year they're going to be telling us when the actual release date of the game is. I could tell from Nikita's comments that they are very laser focused on getting this game to a place where it is improved, it performs really well, and they can get comfortable with their quality and quantity of content to release it. They talked about continuing to work on additional guns, features, and other things that they want to bring to the game. So I think there is still a very bright future. I am very excited for DLSS, which again should be coming out very shortly. Lighthouse expansion, which again, no real good time frame on that, but it sounds like it is pretty close, hopefully within the next couple of months. And we'll see what the rest of the game holds for us. I kind of have this gut feeling that maybe in the next 2 or so months, we'll be seeing Lighthouse expansion with some additional features and updates. And anytime they introduce a new boss, I feel like, or bosses, I feel like we might get a wipe. So I personally would expect this, let's say mid part of the year. So here in about 2 months or so. And that's just pure speculation on my part, but it feels like it would be a good time to wipe it. They also don't want the boss or any of the new features or this Lighthouse expansion, at least in my opinion, to be easily farmable. And I think giving players access to some of that right now with the gear and the later on in the wipe that we are, I think might be a little bit too easy. Depends how easy the bosses are. So this pure speculation, just what I've seen from my handful of at this point years covering this game. I think that's a fair expectation, but more to follow and we shall see. So more news I expect coming out very soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little bit longer, but I wanted to cover a lot of the stuff. If you have any questions or thoughts, please leave those in the comments down below. I just want to put the quick plug in, like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the support on the channel. We've got a hardcore series we're still running through. We've got our escape series. We've got some other challenge series going up, as well as some stream highlights. And we're doing a whole lot with Tarkov, so we look forward to bringing you continuous content. We're posting videos almost every single day, and hopefully you are enjoying everything. So like, comment, subscribe. We do have a subscriber goal for the year, so if you're interested and you're watching these videos, please consider subscribing. We're trying to get to 10K before the end of the year, and every subscription counts. In addition to that, I am recording this right before I start streaming. We stream over on Twitch Fridays and Saturdays, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, randomly whenever we can throughout the week, in the evenings as well. Those links in the description. We've got our Twitter, got our Discord. So if you want to check any of that out, join our socials. Discord, best place to be if you want to stay up to date with the channel. And yeah, look forward to having you over there. Without that being said, we're going to wrap up this Let's Talk Tarkov. I'm going to say thanks. I'm going to say I'm Doc from Average Gamer Guys. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next Escape from Tarkov video. Peace.